Hello guys and welcome to TFT Worlds, set 10, day 2, game number 2. Enjoy.
A defection at the last second away from Spatula. You go, come on, let's one-man this thing.
I do want to say that Prismatic...
Yes!
Never mind!
Thank you very much!
The one man that wins it all. I wanted to say that Prismatic Finale is typically avoided early on because it's very, very random. It comes at the very end, and it does introduce the most variance out of any of the portals.
All right, so as we get into second game, of course, we have jumped in here with the early rounds. For you guys, what are the players who are most drawing your attention here in this second game of the day?
For me, I think it has to be seeing what someone like HSK does in this game. He played 6 rerolls yesterday. He was very much going back to his traditional style from the Brazilian region. He's known as, a reroll degenerate, I'll call it that way. But he played Hardsteel to qualify, so I think he maybe knew that Hardsteel was stronger into the meta where he needed to find big results to make it this far.
I really want to hype up my homeboys, and that's going to be Le Chu Yen from one of the biggest servers, actually. People don't know this, but Vietnam has 450 challengers, and his unique style is actually playing 4 crowd divers with the super fans composition, something that Vietnam developed.
We saw a little yawn there from HSK. I think it's early in the morning in Brazil. Hopefully he wakes up in time for this game number 2.
Oh, Evelyn?
Oh, Iberia will be very happy to see that.
Wait, that's my job to call for Evelyn rerolls. Don't take my role, please.
That.
I want to open up the larger question here. As you mentioned, rerolls, of course, we've got all of our standard things that are going to be popular. But the obvious question here, we're in the Spatula portal. Which one of these compositions is going to benefit the most from having that Spatula guaranteed the whole game?
I'm looking at players that need to make a comeback. We saw from Bintum already last game with a Heartsteel emblem, for example. That's one way to really try and almost force Heartsteel, and especially force the 5 Heartsteel raise the stakes play in stage 3 especially.
I would definitely go for Pentakill because that is the one that is usually least played, but very easy to hit. It gives you 7 Penta on level 8. And we're going to start with Prismatics.
We even saw Title yesterday trying to play for that 10 KDA. Maybe a player that wants to lean back into that KDA tree.
No, absolutely. Certainly with the Prismatics on the table, we could see the more extreme ends. We do have Dish, though. We can
Come on, Dish Soap.
Come on. Give us what we want. Dish Soap.
Is this your perfect player? I don't know about that. Perfect requires entertainment as well.
Wait. We got what we wanted.
Uh-oh.
You go. All right.
He voted for this portal, and he got Cruel Pack. What can this player do?
I do want to say why Cruel Pack fell off really hard. The view from CN is that it's just not worth the risk anymore. Because it's a Prismatic, a lot of times roll the dice on Olaf or even an Evelyn could just kill you early.
We'll see if that first round goes well. Certainly, we've got some strong boards coming in here. GN with the Infinity Edge and with the Jeweled Lotus as well has got a lot of punch behind that Jinx.
And he is playing more for the late game, does have the Jeweled Lotus already. And I do want to point out, Superfan plus 80 items, that is the way he likes to start games.
Look at this Annie. It's just a headline and no other natural copies. We won't be seeing it in this game, I have to assume. We only saw 4 Annie rerolls yesterday, and only 5 one-cost rerolls in total with that Kess Yasuo reroll we saw get a second on the game 3.
All right, taking a look at some of the other augments in the lobby, though, we have got a couple of living forges coming out for a long time, as well as putting in some very immediate and short terms. One that is growing my potential particularly is Volta picking up the tiniest Titans, going for the very long term.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a Heartsteel angle most of the time, but I do want to focus on Ugol. It's very important to see when these Cruel Pack players go to level 7. In the standard role, you typically want to do it on 2-3, pre-level, hit level 7, and then look for your level 7 3-cost headliner on 3-1.
And we saw a chance to play for the Riven reroll with the Cruel Pack. He had a Riven in the shop, skipped over, did not buy it, rerolled it despite having the 8-bit emblem essentially already on his item component bench.
Well, Cheche will go for exactly the way he wants to go for Clement. Slams in the Pentakill emblem from early on. I have to imagine there's a fair bit of claiming the territory here, making the early slams.
We're seeing it there as well with the Annie for Ugol. He's going to go down the KDA tree. We know Dish Soap is on true damage we saw on his Jinx. And just one of the biggest things about this specific portal is scouting heavily all of stage 2, making sure you can almost predict what kind of lines players are going down, because if you slam a emblem that is going to be contested, you might have a very hard time top 4ing.
And we should talk about the Exodias with the emblems right here. I think the 3 biggest ones are going to be that 10 Penta, 10 KDA, and 6 8-bit. I think those are the real monsters that typically win lobbies.
And of course, we've seen just having to have one spatula, one emblem to make the 6 8-bit cash-out dream come alive. In Amir, we saw it at an absolute ton of times. I would be very surprised if somebody doesn't at least chance it in this lobby.
Oh, and there is one I forgot to mention, and that's going to be the 9 true damage. But honestly, this one is a little bit less seen usually. We will see for, I think, one of the best carries is actually the true damage Ari that also enables the super fans and KDA.
Well, we've already got some pretty decent items from our stationary support to enable that longer term, but this so far so good. Has been keeping the win streak going. Yugal, of course, one of the players who's going to make sure that no win streaks stay intact because he does not want to drop any HP at this point in the game.
And from what we saw in broadcast, Dishop was one of the players that was closest to playing that 9 true damage in that salvage bin game we saw up against Cass with the Yasuo. He almost had a chance to had the rapid fire Senna instead of the true damage Senna, so we'll see if he's able to go down that route.
And I do want to actually open up that conversation a little bit more with a Cruel Pack player in the lobby. Oh, actually, let's hold that thought.
It's right in front of him.
Oh, surely. Mai still got
doesn't want
doesn't want it.
A free Tactician's Crown.
Wow. All right, so Yugal's the one to grab hold of that. All right, with the Cruel Pact in place as well, I'm really fascinated to see where this goes as a combination, because presumably, we're not getting up to the high levels to go for the absolute power version.
Yugal is going to have a killer stage 3 right here because he can land 7 KDA on a Seraphine reroll on his board. And if he hits Remember his roots, which is what you want with everyone here, that could be absolutely massive.
And Senna instantly purchased a direct upgrade onto the Annie there.
All right, Yugal, show us exactly what you're made of. I guess the question I was going to bring you into this one here is, with Yugal being so aggressive and presumably going to level 7 relatively soon, it feels like for players like Cheche who've got the win streak, it's going to be very hard for any player to keep the win streak going unless they can take down the Cruel Pack board.
It's important in Prismatic Starts to scout at 2-1, and before you decide your game plan of do I heavily push for a win streak or a lose streak, are there any Cruel Pack players?
Yeah, if you see one, it's usually not a great idea to contest them. They're going to have an extremely strong board, but the early stages of like 2-5 and 3-1 are really where these Cruel Pack players can fall down sometimes because we do have that TD on the Evelynn as she's truly through the front line.
It's going to be a little closer than expected. Level 4 against level 6. Still a little bit of a heart stopper for a second. HSK a little resigned there, but Yugal's plan so far is working.
And I do want to say Yugal is actually staying on level 6 a bit longer than we usually see the Cruel Pack players because he is rolling for those 2 costs. So this is a new improved version, and we haven't really seen this line too much.
And Yugal yesterday is a player that played 5 different 2-cost rerolls and 1 Annie reroll along the way as well. So no 3-cost reroll whatsoever, no Riven, no Lulu.
Well, it's worth noting as well, Yugal, we'd expect for a Cruel Pack player to be on a heavy win streak. He did break that streak at some point in the past, so he has lost a little bit of HP and therefore a little bit of XP to move up to level 7.
HSK, he is one of the players that did not touch Heartsteel at all whatsoever in this tournament, and it looks like I hate to break it to you, but maybe the Evelynn is a thing.
so let me get this right. When I call for Corki reroll, for Garen reroll, you laugh at me, nothing ever happens.
True.
Suddenly you call for Evelynn reroll, and it might actually become a thing on the world's stage. That just seems unfair, Clement.
Honestly, I still can't believe it. I have seen it once in NA, and thanks to Gangly, I remember it was a 7th.
I saw it from Lelouch, one of the best Polish players, best EMEA players historically in EMEA. He played, I think, in scrims once and in a tournament once as well. It didn't do well, so I don't recommend it, actually.
We got some very tepid reviews coming in across the board here. Let's focus back in, because we have got the Diamond Hands coming in for Taro. Remember, we've got a couple of Living Forge players in play.
I do want to specifically mention Living Forge is great with true damage compositions right here because a lot of the units like the Kiana and the Akali do love Diamond Hands to use as sort of an Edge of Night.
Now we were wondering why Mai picked up a tier instead of the spatula to make Tactician's Crown in the Stage 2 carousel. I believe he is trying to angle Annie reroll. He had 5 copies and he did not have a headliner yet on his board. So maybe trying to force that in this 3-1 roll down. We will see his board as we move into 3-1 and see if the roll down is occurring or not.
Oh, there we
There's
go.
The Evelynn.
3. Could the dream be real? It can be. All right. We've heard the reviews. They've not been good. HSK, though.
Yasuo for Taro, not for Cass, but still a lot of 1-cost rerolls coming through in this lobby.
Yasuo 3, Eve 3. Who's going to be the winner?
I'll be honest. I think the Evelynn 3 is going to find herself a way into the bin later into the game.
Ain't so.
It's probably just like a hard steal angle for tempo in the end. But for Taro, this is a very, very high cap board. We have seen people go Lucian and Yorick into this board, and he's stacking up early so fast. So it's very difficult to deny him from creating a monster Yasuo.
And you mentioned the invincibility frames coming in from the Diamond Hands and the Edge of Night being put together. This is a Yasuo that is, well, especially with healing, will become incredibly hard to put down.
And there is going to be the Edgelord variant of Yasuo, but you have already the true damage emblem maybe making up for that fact. So we'll see what the endgame board looks like. 3-2 augments rolling through. It will be gold, and it will be live for danger, and not today for Taro. So he has his choice. Idealism as well of what exactly he wants to go for to equip this Yasuo. It will be Idealism in the end for that extra bit of healing.
That is exactly what he's missing right here, and I feel like he's off to a great start. Also, I do want to point out, Edgelord early is typically the stronger option in the mid game because you get access to that 60% attack speed and smart movement paths.
David, I think you did spot something there from Volta down in the bottom right-hand corner, who noticed the tiniest titles from earlier on, combined now with the last stand.
And we did also mention that Mai might be going for Annie 3, which is why he had that little bit of an awkward stage 2 where he skipped a spatula, and that is going to be the case. Mai 3 is online, the third 3-star 1 cost in this game already. What a start for game number 2 on today.
Ooh, the tempo is going to be so explosive in this game. If you're angling for a Heartsteel right now, you might not be feeling so well. But I will say the cool part about the Heartsteel player is they're playing the 1-cost 3-star as well in Cheche.
Oh boy. I'm fascinated to see how this works out longer term. Certainly we've had that injection of power from the very beginning. You see Dish Soap's board though, which we're hoping to see develop more later on, is already pretty strong as Volta will absorb another loss. The Tiniest Titan's the last stand. He is brewing up for what could be a big finish, but he doesn't have any Heartsteel.
I do want to say that's one of the worst stationary supports I have seen from anyone in this tournament so far. I'm very interested to see how Dish Soap actually makes that one out. He does have the Void spawn and also just the Chalice.
Ugol, another loss for the Cruel Pact player. Not the best stage 2 and 3. You normally want to be win streaking all throughout with the extra slots on your board to make sure you have the health really to top 4 in the later stages of the game.
I do want to point out that this is why you usually go for 3 costs when you get the Cruel Pact. It's because you have a leg up when contesting those 3-cost headliners. But in this situation, he's actually running into a lot of the same units that other players might be holding.
And that's really unfortunate. At least, has got enough power. But we can see, Ugol's going to be stuck here at level 7 for a while, and the rest of the lobby is starting to catch up.
We saw Reforge on a component trying to maybe fish for a second KDA emblem to maybe instead of playing for a reroll. Actually, yeah, he can't even fit the 10 KDA regardless. So here's what his game plan in terms of itemizing these last few units. Maybe making sure he's not going to continue bleeding in this stage 3.
Oh, I can't believe Dish Soap is actually at 93 HP, so makes whatever works with that early stationary support. I gotta say, he's just the perfect player, and when I ask NA players what happens when he low rolls, they just say he never does.
Well, it seems to be holding true. But now, Ugol and Mai, along with you and all players who need to get their spatulas online. Ugol, we noticed before, looking for the double KDA, did find the needlessly large rod.
And Mai picks up a bow, which is to complete that Nashor's onto his Annie 3, trying to stay stable with a Vampirism, especially across the stage 3. If he's able to really play this Annie to success, it had great stats yesterday. Despite only 4 players playing it, it had a 3.8 or so in terms of the averages.
Oh, and I always get excited when South America starts picking up the kill because for some reason, they have the best stats on this reroll. There seems to be some extra sauce whenever they play this composition, especially for Brazil, that averages 2.6.
Yeah, I mean, the board's looking pretty good. We don't have the Mordekaiser up to 2 stars as yet, but the itemization is great. KL is looking very strong as well. And Cheche's HP total, he's at the very top. Not on the win streak anymore, but still in a great position long term.
And Cheche player we saw on broadcast yesterday playing this exact composite comp, he definitely does favor, as you mentioned. We'll see how it'll do now up against this Evelyn 3, which you see so rarely, but Heartsteel Ezreal already being built up in the back there.
I called it. I'm sorry, Evelyn, darling, but I think you're going into the bin sometime soon.
Oh boy, we dared to dream big, and sadly that dream is not manifesting into something. See, HK just perhaps was expecting a similar thing, and maybe the lobby overall has just got a little bit too narrow. A lot of our streaks broken, but Gian, down towards the bottom of the table, does keep a 6-round loss streak in place and a good amount of gold in the bank as well.
Yeah, Le Chuyen, his strategy does look more like an AD-focused strategy right here. We did see him play something very unique, which was super fans into Caitlyn, and these items would actually fit the Caitlyn perfectly.
You can even play Riven reroll with Caitlyn, the secondary carry. He has the cloak open on the bench. He has a spatula for the 8-bit emblem. He has a Riven 2 already online, a 4th on the bench. So I think this is definitely going to be a Riven reroll angle. Not too much Seacon right now to work with for a 4-1 roll down.
And one of the things you can do with the Riven reroll is play through that Caitlyn 2. That can also stabilize you in stage 4, and we have actually seen success with it. He doesn't have a lot of Riven items right now. Might have to pray for those PvE rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if we were hoping for the big cash out, it doesn't seem like it's on the cards for Chuyen. Has only recently got the 8-bit online, and as I said, doesn't have the way to make the spatula quite yet. Hopefully, these walls will be generous enough to drop a bow for us.
Looking here at one of our last win streakers, it is going to be Taro right here with the Yasuo 3 still stacking up. With a 4-win streak in stage 3, he should be relatively healthy, and the next big breakpoint for this board is going to be that Akali 2.
Yeah, I really like what we've got going on here with the true damage on the Yone and also the Even Shroud as well. Just wanting to keep him around for as long as possible to enable the Yasuo, who's built more for defense, to get the kills.
I do want to see if he can find that Triforce in here. There's not many items that are great for AD carries coming off the Living Forge, so you really need to hit that Death Dance or Triforce.
And Living Forge for Mai here as well with the Zhonya's onto the Annie as a third item here. Shojin Nashor's Zhonya is going to make sure that when she ramps up to that super Annie potential, shooting off 2 fireballs at once, she has that extra time of invulnerability against these backline carries, like the Riven maybe, that will sneak up on her.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely crucial for Hugo, though. This is a big turning point. He's up to level 7. He's slamming in the items. He cannot afford to take losses.
I was a little bit disappointed right here because it is the Spellweaver version. I did want to see a 10 KDA angle, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now.
No, I think Hugo's just trying to take whatever he can get. This board is working relatively well so far. You can see it's not only winning the rounds, but actually crushing through them. For Hugo, that's got to be some pretty great news, considering that things haven't been going so great for him for a little while.
We're seeing the Annie here. As we mentioned, well, he didn't need it this time. The Mordekaiser, I think, was not too threatening there with the HP he had, but Mai really had to turn things around in stage 4. He's lost a lot of HP chasing this Annie 3, setting everything up for success. Stage 4 is the proving ground. He has to make sure to stabilize and stay healthy.
This is a big round for Le Chuyen. He's on 26 HP with a huge loss streak. What support item does he get? This could decide if he can stay in this game or not. It's a big gamble, but he didn't find anything else. It was balanced budget and an AP augment for him.
Taking a quick look through some of the augments to see if any have grabbed our eyes. It's looking like it's more or less what you'd be expecting from this stage in the game. Our players have got their plans in place already. Heavy hitters. The one, I suppose, that jumps out at me from Taro up in the top left-hand corner for that Yasuo reroll. But otherwise, just putting a little bit more survivability and a little bit more in the way of equipment for these late-game boards.
See Epitaph for HSK trying to cap out that Heartsteel board. But looking now at Le Chuyen, 8 loss streak, 26 HP, needs to find a way to come back. And Kane, Sniper's focus, I'm not sure that's the answer.
It definitely isn't. And he rolled all of his gold and had to stabilize on this kill. Definitely didn't want to do that. The good news, though, is that he did hit the nuts in terms of the support items right here.
True.
He does find the QSS, which is best for these frontline carries.
And he's one off of the 7 Edgelords. It's not the 8-bit variant we're used to seeing, which is why maybe we're not seeing the Caitlyn here. Found the Riven Edgelord variant, instead going to try and go down that vertical, which doesn't usually find that same success.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how that works out longer term. Something we haven't seen a massive amount of the push towards the vertical edgelord. But checking in with Dish Soap, who was running high for a while, has started to dip down. HSK also in a little bit of a dicey position, the 6 loss streak, but has been getting in the Heartsteel. We noted, had the Heartsteel emblem for a while.
Still missing the headliner, though. Finds the Zed, which is exactly what he would like. He has the TGs to work with, so can't really pick the perfect items for that Zed, but that should be good enough. Needs to slam the EDM sampler there. Needs to get potentially maybe the Giant Slayer onto the Ezreal. And oh, pretty good items. Gets the Last Whisper and the Runant onto the Zed.
Couldn't really have asked for more right here. We'll see how HSK does in his first Heartsteel game. I would say the only suboptimal thing about the board is when you have 2 items stuck on Ezreal 1, it always feels really bad because you can't have that snipe potential on backline.
Oh,
As I say that,
painful. You can see Disso looking pretty disappointed there by how the targeting worked out. So HSK going to be breaking that loss streak and pushing Disso into a little bit of an uncomfortable position. Mai and Chuyen down at the bottom. Chuyen in particular, both of them with open spatulas, both of them on minimal HP.
oh, there is a tier here, so we could be seeing the 6 emo come out, which was buffed in recent patches to give plus 20 AP.
And this stops that Riven from going to Le Chuyen. We also see the glove potentially for HSK, but Volta picks it up instead, so no IE able to be slammed for that Heartsteel board.
This is a big one. Yorick going very late into the round. Gets picked up by
poor
Taro.
He was angling towards it. He's playing that pentakill kill. He would have loved to have that next 5-cost upgrade.
I would say the biggest upgrade here definitely has to go to Mai. He's down on 24 HP, and if you can somehow find the Sona, even like a red Sona, that could stabilize his board.
There it is. The Ribbon has been found. 4 8-bit now online, switching over to the 4 8-bit version instead of the Edgelords. And Mai, who's sitting at a pretty precarious position, 24 HP, Peter, to work with.
Yeah, does have the chance to slam the emo spatula if he wants to here. Notable Mai, a player who has played at a global championship before, but in Wild Rift, actually cast by one of our co-streamers, Stuart, goes up to the 5 emo, doesn't quite have the 6 online.
This front line is not what he's looking for here. All of his items just being stuck onto the 1-star.
Look at the Yasuo. Oh, look at the Zanyas. Doing exactly what it needs to be doing to try and win these fights. This is what we were talking about in Stage 3. This is why this item is so good for Annie. All of a sudden, the fight turns in Mai's favor. Any other item combo that Annie would have been killed.
I absolutely love it there. The Vampirism, the Healing Orbs as well. She is a nightmare to get rid of, even with a unit specifically spec to do exactly that.
And there still is cap for her. And Li Chuyen now, let's see, just started. Oh, he didn't turn the corner just yet. Still another 2-loss streak on his last life here. He needs one more upgrade, but he's not going to roll for it. Just wants to wait for the PvE round.
He has a spat as well, so a bow in this last PvE round could mean 6 8-bit if he finally finds a Galen. He doesn't have one yet.
Volta, one of our players from here, out of contention for the top 8, but still playing some pretty aggressive TFT, holding on and keeping that metabolic accelerate, or the tiniest sizes rather, pushing his HP up. Chuyen, though, we'll see, not going to get the 8-bit cash out. That Ribbon's taking a lot of the aggro early on, going face to face with the Yasuo.
No.
And Yasuo wins the duel. Will punch for the front line. Chuyen out of there. You can just see rocking back. I think he may have expected that one a little bit.
That was the worst possible positioning for him. Whenever the Yasuo does face the Riven, because it was a Titans versus an Edge of Night matchup, the Edge of Night usually comes back in again. Riven drops aggro, and Yasuo cuts her down.
And Cheche loses that win streak. 6 win streak, now a loss. Volta on a 3 win streak despite having last stand still yet to proc. So could be one of the players angling towards a very convincing top 4 in this game, number 2.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to be able to keep that going and keep the HP trickling in, keeping himself up when a lot of other players are starting to fall down. Mai in particular down on just the 10 HP.
I want to highlight this board from Taro. Yasuo, what kind of melee units is he in the lore? Is he a samurai? I would say
Yeah,
so, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like Ronin or
Kess
samurai?
piloted the Yasuo to a top 1 or top 2 yesterday. Now we're seeing Taro. Is there something here? Is there something from Japan where they know how to use this unit to its full potential?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly been going pretty damn well for them so far. I mean, I'd love to see Yasuo again come and be a big part of what we're doing. Certainly haven't been seeing it from many other players. I think a lot of players, you know, if we go back to the EMEA regions, were kind of scared off it. Salvi himself had a rough time on the Yasuo. I think just the positions to run it from can be so few and far between.
Still no Poppy, unfortunately, for Mai here. Stuck on 5 emo. Can put the emo spat on the Thrush, which is a big, big upgrade in terms of getting maybe those 2 or 3 casts off, especially once he's upgraded.
But we do have to look at the Zed positioning here as he just crunches through the front line. Can the Annie do the same thing as she did?
She's
Doesn't even need to.
Yeah.
But there might be too much DPS. The Annie's great, but I don't think she can clean up all of these units in just this short amount of time. Too much frontline. The Zac still not even killed in this long fight.
That's a real shame, but yeah, you're right. The crowd control was the one thing that she couldn't deny there to stop all the DPS, all of the healing. HSK next up on the chopping block because you look above him on the score table on the right-hand side. Hugo, Volta, they're both on win streaks right now. HSK in a bind.
That was a big find for him. Finally gets the Ezreal 2 on stage 5-2, but he needs perfect focus fire to get to some of these backlines.
Dishso playing a more flexible game plan now that he's moved into the 4 cost after getting the Senna 3 finally. But as you mentioned, the support anvil here, the dummy rather, not ideal, trying to make the best use of it onto the Ahri true damage instead. Of course, with true damage, you have 3 different carries. Ahri, Lucian, or Caitlyn, in this case, going for the AP route, but the Senna already targeted. She does clean up in the end, and the Kayle can usually win these 1v5s, but with double rage and a gunblade, surely not. Okay.
No casting, no auto-attacking for you at all. But I'm with you there. I think when the multiple points of power in the composition with Dish Soap is working out extremely well. And we know this board can even get stronger. The Ahri's still only a 1-star.
Yeah, he's definitely lacking for that Akali, though. I don't think he really wants to run that Yasuo. I probably wouldn't even upgrade it right now. Just leave it on the board.
What do you mean? It's a huge spike.
Maybe, maybe.
What is a big spike is the one we've been seeing all throughout the day one that secures you first places. That is going to be the Echo 3. Only 1 copy away here for Ugol, who's still so healthy. The 2-cost rerolls really paying off in this game. Dish Soap on the Senna, Cheche on the Kayle, and Ugol on the Seraphine.
And Akali missing seems to be a big theme on all of these boards right here. Cheche on a 3-loss streak, the same thing. He committed the Penta spat here, but without the 2 cost, it's just giving mana to the opposing backline.
Well, this Cruel Pack board has definitely turned the corner from before. 4-round win streak in place, but I think that streak is going to come to an end right now. Ugol would love to dream of level 8, but each loss pulls him further away from the real endgame he's looking for.
Oh my, why couldn't you stay alive? You could have found a second Emo Emblem. He was taken down in 7th, unfortunately, a few rounds ago. A Jazz Emblem, though, for any Heartsteel players, could be very interesting. And a KDA Emblem as well for Ugol. He's racing towards it. He made it. He didn't trip along the way. There was no obstacles that could stop him.
I was fully expecting an emo spam at that point, but no, he's like, I've got it. That's all I need.
He's already on 7 KDA here, so, you know, one can hope. He does have the cursed Cruel Pack, as David did mention to me, Panda did mention to me, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get to that level 9.
And he is still stuck on 7, torn between trying to go for the Echo 3 or trying to, as you mentioned, level up for those extra KDAs.
All right, Volta, we've been mentioned before, has been hanging on extremely well. Tiniest Titan keeping him afloat. Last stand still not proc. This Lulu board now joined by the Ziggs and the Ahri is looking very good indeed.
Oh, and this is a big upgrade here. We do have the Emo onto the Ziggs, which gives him extra cast and stacks that damage. The big question here is, can he reach that backline and give focus fire? But he gets sniped by the Lulu.
Look at the Ezreal. One more cast and he'll be down, but a massive ult into the biggest clump on the board. Zed coming in, Ziggs trying to clean up. Only Poppy is necessary. Volta taken down. Still no last stand proc.
And every round is going to push Volta up towards a better position. Ugol has the board he wanted, has the dispatches up through everywhere. HSK, though, just with that 1 win there, needs to push this one further. The heart still has been ticking, but I don't know how it compares against the other boards apart from Volta.
Do you want to hear the perfect script for Ugol?
I'd love to.
It's the 1 in 1,000 Tactician's Crown game on 6-3 for 10 KDA. There you go.
All right.
Any other player, or any other caster rather, and I just ignore it. But considering you asked for Evelynn reroll, and we saw it this game, I'm going to give you a 1% chance of that happening, Clement.
All right. I think these are the odds we need here at the Global Championship. You need to get something big. You need to get something memorable. HSK on the left-hand side, Volta on the right. Remember, Volta cannot die as of this round, but HSK has no such reassurance. The Ziggs is doing his best. Emo, he's a little sad, but he's going to express it through the medium of explosions. HSK stays alive.
And we saw during that fight for Volta why he's having so much success despite not even proccing last stand, being an augment down. KDA emblem on Poppy does so much work at buying time for Lulu.
It's absolutely one of the best ones because it gives her so much extra HP, and she can convert that into AD and then back into healing. So triple dipping on those stats.
Sniper's focus potentially for the Lucian.
Ooh,
Taro
I
needs
like
something big to continue capping out his board, considering the 5 loss streak now in stage 5. It has not been nice for this Japanese player. We saw Kess yesterday at 2nd place. Taro trying to follow in his footsteps.
I think it feels like the big thing that's missing for him there is just having the real big secondary carry, but isn't quite there as of yet. You go.
Echo.
Gets the upgrade. One away, as you say. But I don't think it's on the cards here, because they'll sell down a little bit more just to try and dig, try and dream big.
You know why we didn't see it? Clement didn't call for it.
Clement!
If Clement would have called for it, we would have had it.
Asleep at the wheel!
Do you have anything against our Korean players, Clement?
Absolutely not. I'm a huge fan of Bintum because he trash talks NA, and I like trash talk.
Sniper focus coming in for Taro, considering the Lucian 2 upgrade. Is this what he needed to reverse this loss streak and maybe finally get a win up against Yugol? We'll have to find out as this fight goes on.
Yeah, Taro has got the direct line onto the Seraphine, but a lot of units in the way. Once he gets a shot through, 2 of those targets are gone. Will start hitting the Seraphine and tearing her down. Taro found exactly what he needed. HSK on the other side in a similar spot as well. Looks like we should be seeing no eliminations this round.
And this is how you have to take the 1-cost reroll of Yasuo and cap it out. It's all about those 5-cost carries. Both Yorick and Lucian provide a ton of shred to your target, so if you line them up correctly, Yasuo will cut through them like butter.
Volta finally, last stand procced. The boar has reached his final form. Will it be enough to top 4? Will it be enough to win, considering how dominant he looked without the last stand procced even?
Well, I mean, of course, if Volta can stick this one out a long time, he'll be able to heal above the immediate kill. This board is looking real good, though. So much focus on the backline. You mentioned the Poppy Clement as being an absolute rock up in the front. She's going to deny a lot of damage coming in from the flank.
Watch this Yasuo. Can the Ahri get some stuns onto the Yasuo? Stop some of that damage from coming in. She's onto the Kali now first. That's Defiance going to buy a lot of time. Lucian raining down the cross-court shots, and that's going to be it. Lulu's down and out. Volta also eliminated in an unfortunate 5th place position, it looks like.
Oh?
HSK taken down as well.
No! Oh my god, this round is just reduced to 3 players.
That was almost like a self-alley-oop from Volta, I suppose, but not there in the end.
Yeah, Volta nearly got the position over HSK, so close, but that was just a bad matchup. Usually true damage comps are great against resistances, which is exactly what Poppy provides in the front line.
All right, we're down to our final 3. Dish Soap, of course, coming into this one with 36 points. Very good position to try and push towards that top 8. You can see, though, gold is in the favor of Cheche. 51 gold in the bank. Everybody else has spent everything they have.
Cheche's still so healthy as well, Clement. 54 HP to work with. The battle of the true damage verticals. Yasuo on one side, Senna on the other. Senna currently targeting the Echo, buying time for Yasuo and Akali on the left side to deal so much DPS. I think it's going to be a clean win here for Taro. The Lucian Sniper's Focus upgrade seems so pivotal now for the success of this Japanese player.
I have to say, Dish Soap did really low roll on those 4 costs. He's missing the Akali and the Ahri here, so let's see if he can get some upgrades. Finally gets the Akali too.
Oh, I managed to get it with a KDA emblem attached as well. We've certainly been seeing more than a few of them in this game. But yeah, Dish Soap versus Taro, they're battling for that 2nd place. Cheche does seem to be secured at least in the top 2.
I'm not superstitious, but what are the chances that yesterday we see Dish Soap versus Kess, Dish Soap on Senna, Kess on Yasuo, and now we see Dish Soap versus Taro, both playing those same lines as well. This time game 2, no, not game 3, but Cheche, he's ruining the narratives with his healthy 30-plus HP.
Did you guys just see that? In under 10 gold, he was managed to get an Alawi 2 on his board. Got one from the carousel, then just found one in his shop again. Fills out all of his front line, which is the traditional weakness of this Kale composition.
We've got so many different carries here. We've got the Akali with the Pentacle emblem, we've got the Viego as well. We'll see how the Ghost version does on the left-hand side, but on the right, it's the real deal.
Big clump in the middle of Senna, firing right onto that Mordekaiser Akali, trying to disrupt, moving from left to right in the Kale. All she wants to do is ramp up over time, continue scaling, but look at the front line. It's already been deleted, and the Lucian's already onto Kale as well. I don't think she can out-heal this amount of stage 6 damage, rather. Cheche taken down a tiny notch.
Well, the story continues. Cheche maybe isn't going to be finishing out in 1st place. We can't get the win, but we'll at least get a different opponent this time around. The 7 Pentacles certainly means the chain kills will be incredibly important.
The next big upgrade for Cheche here is actually to swap out his Akali for the Kayn. He's still lacking the 3 Edgelord to power up his Viego. And honestly, Akali on stage 6, she used to be a acrobatic assassin, but right now she's just a meandering clown.
All she
Brutal.
does is feed mana. I agree with you, Clement.
Yep.
All right, well, there we go. Let's see if the clans will walk in here in this round. So it looks like we're getting the opposite matchup from 4. Let's see, so keep an eye on the left-hand side of the screen. Dish Soap will be trying to avoid that Yasuo from dancing in. He's spending a lot of time towards the mid of the board. Does manage to avoid a decent amount of it and gets the first kill.
And I don't think the Lucian can clean up. The Akali and the Yasuo take down Dish Soap on that left side. Cheche stays alive, but takes a hit as well. Cheche versus Taro, Latam versus Japan. And who will come out ahead? Cheche had so much HP to work with, has been using that HP as a resource throughout this stage 6, considering other players have now capped out higher than him.
A big thing to watch in the positioning here is you have to make sure you clear out your second row if you're going up against melee edgelords, because they can use that as a skipping board straight into your backline. I don't think Cheche is going to hold this same positioning when he knows his only target is Taro.
Especially the tentacles. I think that's the key thing you have to move out of the way. We see it so many times from the beginning of the set with the Riven matchups especially. Riven just dances right in. It's an open invitation for her to come into your backline.
Yeah, we saw Taro giving himself a little stretch before he headed into the final stretch of this game. Said the pole position.
Yorick 2.
We've got the upgrades. Viego 2 on one side, Yorick 2 on the other. Bear in mind, Yorick is itemized for damage and tankiness.
Oh, that's a huge upgrade here coming in, but I wonder where he's going to place this Yorick. Oh, he's going to keep it on the bottom and ensure he gets that second cast for the big goal.
One more time, they're both on minimal HP. Taro with the Yasuo. Going up against Cheche's board with the pentakill 7. We do see Yorick being held in the back, but he walks right into the Yasuo. Yasuo's going to delete him and maybe walk onto the kill.
The ghoul buying some time.
And it draws the Yasuo away.
Is it enough?
He's on the wrong side of the board.
Is it enough?
And it's going to be enough to pull it away. Taro will not take the first. Cheche takes it for Latam. Game 2.